Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. And I'm trying to see if I can persuade you to conclude that I am your best choice as representative, as President of the United States. And I'm such an advanced choice that I'm worthy of being written in without having to spend any extra money to the media sources to get my message out there, that the message that I bring is so extraordinary, is so desired, so wanted, and so prayed for, that it is a message that cannot be held back. It is an idea whose time has come. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving it all I got because I'd like to experience a little bit of heaven on this earth before I die. And I'd like to experience that heaven with you. You know, just in case this is it, just in case there's nothing on the other side, I want to feel satisfied that at least I did what I could for us, for me, that we at least know what it's like. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, there's a story that goes about viruses. How many of you have heard of the story about the flood? I'm sure many of you who go to churches, especially Christian churches, have heard something about the flood. It is a situation where people were getting a message about some devastation that was going to occur that they had never experienced before. It was something new and they hadn't heard of it. So when they said something was coming that would affect them in a negative way, they thought it was a joke, or they couldn't place it in any bit of seriousness. So the message went out. You're doing some things that's not proper. You are not acting right. I think this is the story how it goes. The flood was going to come to eradicate humankind because they were so crooked. Now, the story also says that the people rejected that, but the flood still came. And there were a few people who could hear the message. They said it was quite a few, or should I say only a few, but they survived because they were hearing the message, and the flood did come. And I think there was a story also in that same book that had to do with the Bible, that had to do with the Passover. They say it was a time when people, government systems were so cruel that another devastation was going to come upon the people. And they required an action take place that would allow certain people who only put blood on their doors because they believed, or they had faith, or they trusted, or they weren't going to take a chance. And they put the blood on their door, and they said some devastation came through there and was taking out people. But where the blood was, it passed over. Well, they also said that there was something that I don't believe is in the book. It happened in 2020, I believe. It had 2019. It had to do with a pandemic called coronavirus. And it is showing its devastation. It's growing and going all over the earth where people are. And it's knocking out people everywhere. Some are getting sick, some are recovering, some are getting sick, and some are dying. Now, some are saying that this pandemic, this virus, this disease was created in a laboratory. And I'd just like to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter where it came from. If it came out of the magic, or if it came out of a test tube, it's doing what it's doing. And we, the people, are not prepared to deal with this. And so that tells me that there is a deficiency somewhere in our system. And I want you to listen, ladies and gentlemen, to what I have to say. You know, there are some strange things that's going on in our time now. You know, we've taken our focus off the pandemic just for a minute because there are some other things that's happening that we have been given a message of. You see how people are treated Look at the President of the United States, a man who has been known and been, I mean, the evidence is there to be what we would call a misfit for a position of President of the United States. That's what they would basically say, a misfit. Now, that doesn't mean people have been perfect, but they say this guy's a misfit. And there are other parts that speak for the people, you know. You can vote someone in, but you still got the people, the Congress there to make sure that these guys are held to certain standards. And when a guy can come in and they try to hold him to standards and he ignore them, how can he do that? It seems like the Congress have to be complicit some kind of way. Otherwise, there's no way that he could do that. But yet, this man has done that. Now, there are those who gave evidence to support the fact that this is a crook. Supported the evidence that you found. And this man ends up in prison. I'm talking about Michael Cohen. And guys like Flynn and Stone. And you still found the same kind of evidence. But these men didn't speak against the president. Yet the evidence confirmed that the president was involved. But the president gets off, and these men get easy treatment. What does that tell the American people? I'm talking to you, ladies and gentlemen. What does that tell you? Your brother, your cousin, your uncle, he violated the rule. They went to court, they were found guilty, and they doing time. Or they were fined, or they got to go through something. But these guys are above the law in a country that says no one is above the law. And then they, right before your face, show you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's one thing to sneak and do something. It's another thing to do it right before your face. The Congress fails you, and you complain. You fail yourselves. But there's a power that's watching you. There's a good power watching you, and there's an evil power watching you. This evil power is testing you to see what they can do with you. That's what they did in 2020. They tested you to see if you would settle for evil. They put two evil candidates before you as your choices. For some strange reason, time has taught you that you just don't have any sense, that you don't have any ability. You just take. And you, all of you good people, I mean, you real good people, and you Christians and other people of God, you went and voted for this evil. That may tell you, what you know about God is nothing. What you know about God is nothing. That is the evidence. Oh, you know God, he might have you burning up with fire. But what you know about God is nothing. Now, I'm just telling you the absolute truth because the evidence supports it. Now, you're going to let Trump's people who lied to you when you verified that they were lying, you're going to let them off the hook? Department of Justice. You're going to let these off the hook? And the ones that gave you information to support that this is a crook, and you're going to keep them in jail? Golly. I mean, that can't be nothing else but the devil. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that can be nothing else but the devil. And every time this devil speaks, he's always talking about authority. That's always his authoritarianism, force. Do what I say. Oh, this is what I'm going to do. Don't worry about it. I got this. You're not going to do this while I'm in office. This is what they always say. But I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, especially to the people of color, all of you, listen, and you listen well. 2020, November, there's going to be another election. It's about 3.5 months from now. And here I am at this late date in this predicament as a write-in candidate who am convinced that the program that I advocate for this nation is exactly what you want. I'm asking you to write me in, Eddie Marcus, and I've put enough videos out on Facebook and YouTube for you to find and know almost as much about me as my family does. Because I want you to know me. I'm on this earth for a purpose. Ain't no shame in my game. What I've done, where I've come from, is all that makes me who I am. That's sitting out here this morning, getting this message to you to let you know that you're going to have a real hand in what's going on. You're being advised today to see whether you're going to put the blood on your door. You're being advised today to see if you're going to prepare for the flood that's coming. You're being advised today to see if you are going to get a touch of what tomorrow can be by waking up today and taking those steps that will determine where you go tomorrow. You see, you have a president who has confirmed that the knee that was on George Floyd's neck, that was the president. That was the power of the United States of America. But it was held up in such a way because of the advancements in technology that the whole world got a chance to see it. And having seen it, they said, oh yeah, that is us too. We have to go through that same stuff. We got the same kind of power, causing the same kind of pain and the same kind of suffering that George Floyd is going through right now. And just like the people who are taking pictures and telling the powers to quit and everything, that's what we are doing around the globe. And just like he is being ignored, nothing is coming through for George Floyd. Nothing is coming through for us. That's why we're in the streets. That's why we are saying we are all in this together. We are all in this together. And others in other parts of the world are watching, for some strange reason, the United States to see how we're going to deal with this. Because this will determine basically a little bit of what action they would have available to them. They got the same actions that we got, and it might be the least of them that might come up with what it is. Because we seemingly have no conscience. But anyway, I'm going to tell you, you won't say you weren't told. They are looking for us. And see, what we see, ladies and gentlemen, in that murder, in that revelation to the world, that the solution to our problem is not in the white man. The white man is and people of color, you pay attention to this. We're not the solutions, the white man, the America. We're not the solution to the problem. Republicans and Democrats, black men are not the solution to the problem. We're just, the most we've done is just been good people standing around, and that is what allows evil to prevail. That's what somebody said, and we have to affirm it. It's definitely true, because doing nothing is what got one man, one female, one brick, anything, popping that police and got him off that man's neck probably could have saved his life. That would have been an act of God. But the devil overcame. And we witnessed the devil overcoming. But the young man said, there's hope. He called out for the power that we can't see. That we must allow that power to live in us so we can be energized, we can be transformed, and we can become instruments of life. And that's why I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, don't just think about writing my name in, because you cannot depend upon Congress. You cannot depend upon a political party. It's going to have to be you. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you of color, listen. Every time over your past 400 years of enslavement, your second-class citizenry, at the helm every step of the way were the same kind of people that's been there all the time, except one that we can verify. That was Barack Obama. And he is the indication, he is the evidence that black people in power are not the answer. Black people in power are not the answer. And everybody knows that white people in power are not the answer. So it got to come from somewhere else. So what we have to do, listen to me real well, we must create the idea. We must establish an idea. We must accept an idea, ladies and gentlemen, and make it an idea whose time has come. And there is no better idea than what I've been sharing with you. I challenge any American, any white man, any black man, anybody in America, anybody in the globe to come up with an idea that's more beautiful for every person on earth than what I have been sharing with you. I mean, if you dare, stand up. I want to know that one. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you have before you. Do you keep on going with somebody that's been before you all of your life? White people. White people. You trust them one more day after 400 years? This is supposed to be the year that you stand up. All you people of color. This is supposed to be the year that you stand up. And now that we have seen, I mean, we already know, but the world now knows exactly what is going on, what we have gone through all this time, and coming through and having to go and make some changes in this. Are we willing to listen and let white people lead people of color just like that? And white people, this is not just about people of color. White people, look what they've done to you. You are poor. You're supposed to have straight hair, but your hair gets just as nappy as black people. Your nose just as snotty. You get just as hungry as people of color. You suffer lack of education, lack of health care, just like people of color. So you have to look for something else to jive for you as well, because white people have failed you. Now, I know you've been trained to not trust black people, and I don't blame you. All of us have been trained not to trust people and their ideas. So we come up with what? A new idea whose time has come. Not of your idea, no. It's an idea for all of us that comes from outside of us, that represents what is important to each of us. Things that we want, need, desire, things that give us peace and prosperity and freedom and joy of life and the fulfillment of our dreams, that takes care of our food, clothing, and shelter and education and health care, and gives us a career, something that we can participate in the creative process, that makes us part owners of all the stuff that comes back. So we don't have to pay for nothing. We don't have to lie, cheat, steal, and kill. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't give it to you any better than that. So this is my message to you today. In the meantime, I need everybody, take this message, follow up on Facebook, get to know me, share me with your friends, share me with your family, share me with your co-workers, share me with your neighbors down the street that you haven't spoken to. Say, check this guy out. You might not like him, but just check him out. See, what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is not what what I just got through saying to you. To me, I don't know of anybody else. I mean, I know that there are a few people around. I ain't crazy. A few people around who think just as genuinely as that. But speaking for me, I'm sure I'm speaking for all of us. This is something that the news media, newspaper, social media, television, radio, should be curious about. They should want to know if this is possible at a time like this. And I think they'll say, well, you're not out in the community getting the people. Look, I don't have time to walk all over the place. I'm not trying to organize. I just want the message out. Because this is something the people either want it or you don't. You either want it or you don't. I'm not selling it. It's the idea that sells itself. You either want it or you don't. You know, they said it was just a few people on that boat after the flood. Yeah. So, I'm not trying to say anything except what I've said. And I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time. As I was saying as I leave, it would be wise if you would call your Congress and tell them to either, no, you've allowed Michael Flynn out. I believe he might stay out. You've given Stone some breaks. And those guys that gave you the truth about Donald Trump, I want them out of jail. I want them out of jail. That doesn't make any. In fact, the truth of the matter is this. If you were fair, everybody that's locked up in jail today, if you were fair, everyone that's locked up in jail today should have their cases rejudicated. Everybody that's locked up today, if it were fair, if it were justice, you would have it rejudicated. That's the only way you can justify what the president, what Barr has done. That means your cousin, your father, your nephew, the guys in jail for 40 years for having a seed, a reefer seed. People trying to control your life. If, my friends, there was anything fair. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that you, the people, should, this would teach the Justice Department something. You, the people, if Flynn stays out, Cohen and those guys stay in, the Justice Department have acted. The Congress won't do anything about it. They've acted. You, the people, the average Joe Blow citizen, you have not been represented. Evil has prevailed as far as your government is concerned. There's only one thing for you to do if you don't want to go along and be complicit with evil. And that's for you to stand up and demand that everybody that's in prison today or in jail have their cases rejudicated and released or reduced in the severity. That's what we the people should do. We should be in the streets, included in justice, because this is justice as well. We can't close our eyes to that. No one is above the law. And if the head, I mean, it's a different story about the toe, but if the head goes up and presents itself before the world as being above the law, then everybody knows there is no law. So what are my people doing in jail? What are my people doing in jail? Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.